we were getting very close to something, as we had started on September 8th, by the way, our Becoming Brigitte season 2. And we were looking at how unusual it was that a dog was barking a bit too loud, a thief that nobody was pursuing was running. And that was us discussing the MK Ultra program, and Brigitte Macron, strangely, and Emmanuel mentioning MK Ultra in the lawsuit to us 18 times struck us as odd. Speaking of MK Ultra, first book we're going to be reading is Chaos, because it is we should learn a bit about the CIA and the secret history of the 60s, and some of those themes may be relevant as we go along with this series. Brigitte Macron was born. It's also the same day that the CIA's MK Ultra program was born. Emmanuel Macron spent a ton of time isolated throughout his childhood. Just off the bat, his father, Jean-Michel Macron, was a psychiatrist. And yes, of course, we know for a fact that psychiatrists have done some evil things. And then also recognize that the majority of the documents pertaining to that program were destroyed. So we don't know just how global that program went, as we were trying to determine whether or not it could have been Brigitte Macron that was involved in that Stanford experiment, this prisoner, 2093. And what really terrifies me is that if my inclination that Xavier Poussard's messages have been being read and tracked for longer than I even realized, and that's the reason they initially sent that cease and desist in December, was to ward me off sitting down with Xavier Poussard, then what we hadn't yet presented to the audience, but what we were investigating on the back end, if they were aware of that, it really makes me wonder if we were on the right track. And it was something that was so sinister, involving maybe another step of the MK Ultra program being used to foster serial killers and to give serial killers new identities and allowing them to run in countries. That was kind of conversations that I was having in the background with Xavier. And we thought that we had perhaps identified Brigitte Macron at Stanford University, a possibility is what I would say. We were maybe at a 50-50%. If there is anything to know about Kabbalists, it's that the numbers matter deeply to them. Numerology is important. So I say to myself, the numbers of the prisoners, they cannot be random. They are random, but they can't be random. They have to hold some sort of a meaning. They're all over the place, right? Some of them are 3 digits, some of them are 4 digits. There's no flow. Why would somebody do this? More than anything else, it's just difficult for you. If you're controlling this experiment, it's difficult to keep track of all of these numbers. When you just want to make somebody 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. And then it hits me. Everything about this experiment is military. These numbers must be military. They must hold military significance. And lo and behold, the prisoner numbers just so happen to correspond to 1971 military bases. And I'm going to go through those for you guys right now. Doug Corby's was 8612. That is the number that was assigned for the Naval Weapons Station in Long Beach, California. Incredible. That one took me a while to hack, because apparently when it's a medical center, a medical facility, they give them what's known as DMIS numbers. But again, Long Beach, California. Jerry Shue. We have Camp Pendleton, CA. That is, of course, also a naval base in California. And then, last but not least, and you guys don't have to show this next one because I want to speak through this. Tom Williams, prisoner 2093. Is this a naval base? I get a hit, guys. I do get a hit of a naval base that it corresponds to, the naval unit, rather, that it corresponds to. And it is the only naval unit on the list that is not American-owned. And it just so happens to be French-owned. Clipperton Island. Who knew? A naval base on Clipperton Island. First thing I'm thinking is, what the heck is Clipperton Island? I'm wondering if it's me. My husband then says he's never heard of Clipperton Island. And that's crazy, because my husband is the king of geography. Xavier Poussard says he's never heard of Clipperton Island. So let me show you this island that apparently not many people have heard of, that had a military naval base and presence. That is a French island. Check this out on the map. Yep, let's go in here. Clipperton. What the heck goes on at Clipperton Island? It's incredible. And then suddenly Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, and it totally throws us off of the scent entirely because we're trying to figure out what happened to Charlie. And now, strangely, trying to figure out what happened to Charlie has brought us back to a France question, right?